This is the Barbados Today evening news for Thursday, November 9. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. The man accused of attacking Police Commissioner Tyrone Griffith has been further remanded to prison after appearing in court earlier today. Dwayne Carlo Griffith of Crab Hill, St. Lucie, appeared in the Whole Town Magistrates Court charged with obstructing police, assaulting police and resisting police in the execution of duty. He is due back in court on December 7. In more court news, 2 teenagers have been remanded to custody following an altercation earlier this week, which left another student injured. The 2 schoolboys were arrested and charged with serious bodily harm in connection with a stabbing on Tuesday on board a school bus traveling along Seaview St. James. A 15-year-old boy sustained 2 stab wounds to the back. They appeared before Magistrate Wanda Blair in the Whole Town Magistrates Court. The 16-year-old was remanded to prison, while the 14-year-old was remanded to the Government Industrial School. They are due back in court on December 5th. Meanwhile, another teenager has been remanded to prison after appearing in court today on gun charges. On Tuesday, 17-year-old Jaquan Antonio Richards of Pinelands, St. Michael, was arrested and charged with unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of 7 rounds of ammunition, and unlawful possession of cannabis. Richards appeared in the District A Magistrates Court today and is due back on December 7. And in more police news, 38-year-old Andre Jackman is due in court on Friday after being apprehended over the violation of his bail conditions. Jackman, also known as Lord Evil, was held by members of the anti-gun unit and officers from the District E police station sometime after 8 o'clock on Wednesday night at Stroud Bay, Crab Hill, St. Lucie. He appeared before Acting Judge Eric Scott in the Supreme Court today and was allowed to continue his bail. He is due back in court tomorrow. The main advocacy group for men has been given a failing grade for its representation of fathers who are being denied access to their children. It comes from the founder of the group Access for Fathers, Cami Holder. He says he was forced to take the lead on the issue because MISA has dropped the ball.
This is attracting the attention of the Attorney General, the Attorney General. So I'm saying that people are concerned with this issue. But it's not only about me, it's about our society on the whole, because dysfunction in our society impacts on our crime statistics.
MISA has maintained for years that men are being treated harshly when they go to court to deal with child support payments. But women are not penalized for denying the men access to their children. In 2015, MISA also called for mandatory DNA testing at birth in an effort to protect men from paying child support for children who are not theirs. And after 8 years, the world's largest floating book fair is back in Barbados. The MV Logos Hope today began a 9-day visit to the island and is docked at the Flour Mill at Spring Garden. Managing Director Pilhan Park says the crew of the international volunteers are bringing messages of hope, knowledge and help to the countries they visit.
The mission of Logos Hope is to advance the well-being of people everywhere. This is achieved in several ways, through sharing knowledge, by making available many good books on board, and sharing help by assisting educational, social, and healthcare projects, and sharing hope by affirming right values and the worth of every human being before God. Often our visitors ask, how can you survive in an international community like this? They seem to think it would be impossible. And although we face difficulties from time to time, we live and work together by seeking to understand others' point of view.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit ticketpal.com and all TicketPal locations to get your tickets, and visit foodandrum.com for more information.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region, and we go to St. Lucia, where officers meeting in Castries are addressing the issue of political interference We get the story from HTS News Force.
What do policing and politics have in common? On the surface, not much. But a former police commissioner says interference by politicians in police forces might need tackling on a national level. Former Police Commissioner Vernon Francois was the guest speaker at the opening of the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations intersessional meeting on Wednesday. He says some political involvement is expected. However, there must be clear lines of demarcation between the enforcement and executive arms of government.
The problem is, in my view, is when this involvement reflects in areas of obvious interference, such as who the commissioner should promote or who he should transfer.
The former top cop says police officers too must stay out of active partisan politics.
As Commissioner of Police, I encourage my colleagues to exercise their rights to take part in the national political process by casting the ballots during national elections. What I discouraged was for police officers to publicly associate with political parties. Notwithstanding their constitutional rights, openly practicing partisan politics is a sure recipe for divisiveness. I am from the school which suggests that your primary role as a police officer is to be of service and loyal to the government of the day. The perception, and in many cases the reality, is that if you are partisan, you will not show the same degree of commitment when your party is not the government of the day.
The theme of the gathering is how can the CFPWA overcome the challenges of political divisiveness. The Federation's president says regional police welfare associations must be steadfast in the face of continued interference by politicians.
Let us not forget the recent challenges that me and my local association faced when 5 internal charges were laid at me and 2 charges given to another member. All these were politically motivated to dismantle our welfare association.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has called on China to do more to rein in North Korea's weapons program. He also wants Beijing to fix what he calls unfair trade with the U.S. We get more in this Reuters report.
Donald Trump all smiles after a day of talks in China Thursday, after he and leader Xi Jinping agreed there's still a solution to the North Korea crisis. Trump again pressed China to fix what he calls unfair trade, though he added that he doesn't fault Beijing for the deficit.
Who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens?
China has given Trump the red carpet treatment on his 2-day visit, and as Reuters' Tony Monroe reports, it's left an impression.
Clearly the positive vibes and positive energy between President Trump and President Xi continue here in Beijing today. President Trump was full of praise for his counterpart and also full of praise for China.
Again, you're a very special man.
They both said they believe a solution on North Korea is possible, but there was no specific in terms of what that solution might entail. Trump did call on Xi to do more, call on China to do more in terms of cutting off China's financial ties with North Korea. He also called on Russia to do more to address the North Korea issue.
The two leaders also announced $250 billion worth of deals between U.S. and Chinese companies, although there are questions over how much that addresses wider complaints about China.
That's news. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Have a good evening.